Oh wow, okay, so the things that I'm going to be talking about in this video is actually giving me a lot of anxiety. It turns out that recently a lot of players were getting banned for actually submitting new Pokestops and gyms in their areas through Niantic Wayfarer. We're also seeing a bunch of players get banned for actually creating new routes in their neighborhoods as well. This was something that was reported by Zyonik on his YouTube channel. I do suggest you go and check out his video on the matter, and I really do think that this is something that the Pokemon Go community needs to be aware of. I'm personally going to be giving my own thoughts regarding this whole issue in this video, and that's really because I want to push this issue even further. I really hope Niantic does something about this because this is not something that needs to be a thing with Pokemon Go. Yeah, this is a discussion that needs to happen, and that's what the point of this video is going to be. So let's get right into it. Alright, how's it going everyone? It's me, it's Jinsula. I hope you're having a good day and welcome to today's Pokemon Go video. So today is going to be kind of a response to another video that I saw recently, and it was a video by Zyonik talking about how some legit players were finding their accounts suspended for submitting new Pokestops and gyms in their neighborhoods.
People's accounts are getting banned for violating the terms of service because they were submitting Pokestops that Niantic did not like. And that is an extremely gray area.
When I initially heard that title, I was a little bit skeptic because when it comes to players getting their accounts banned, it typically is because they are actually cheating within Pokemon Go. Yes, we've had a lot of cases of false positives in the past, but in general, if people are getting their accounts suspended, it's usually because they are spoofing or they're doing something egregious that goes against the terms of service. Well, this time around, it turns out it's not even any of that. It's legitimately because players were submitting Pokestops and gyms in their areas. Just as Zyonik pointed out in his video, there were players that were stating that they were getting emails after receiving a suspension of their accounts, stating that the reason for their suspensions is because of something they submitted within Niantic Wayfarer. When I heard that, I was actually flabbergasted because for people to submit new Pokestops and gyms on Niantic Wayfarer, they're actually doing a lot of free labor for Niantic. They're actually trying to make the game better because when it comes to Pokemon Go, the enjoyment level does increase if there's more points of interest in your area. But for a lot of these players to get their accounts suspended because Niantic had thought that they were submitting Pokestops maliciously, I think that is absolutely ridiculous, and this is not something that should be a policy moving forward. By my personal experiences, the more people submit new Pokestops and gyms in a local area, the more that community ends up growing. And this is something that Niantic needs to think about. When it comes to Pokemon Go, it needs to be in a state where it is constantly growing. And the best way for them to do that is if the game is getting more and more populated by Pokestops and gyms. I really think this sort of thing is going to halt a lot of that growth. Like, a lot of players are no longer going to be submitting new points of interest, and when it comes to Niantic Wayfarer itself, I think a lot of players are going to put a pause on doing any kind of reviewing. So yeah, this is not going to be good for Pokemon Go, and any Niantic product for that matter.
If this trainer is using the Wayfarer to create Pokestops on behalf of Niantic for their game, and they maybe are doing something that they shouldn't be, it should be isolated to the Wayfarer account. I mean, that is the most common sense thing in the world. But Niantic has gone above and beyond, as they always do, and now is banning Pokemon Go accounts.
I mean, Zyonik said it best. This is a huge gray area when it comes to Pokemon Go players. Like, it's not going to be a good thing for Pokemon Go if people are not actively on Niantic Wayfarer. It's kind of something that has worked in tandem with Pokemon Go. Like, they have that symbiotic relationship. If Niantic Wayfarer is doing really well and the community is really active there, then Pokemon Go is going to benefit from that. And as more players play Pokemon Go, there's going to be more players that go over to Niantic Wayfarer. And this is something that Niantic needs to upkeep. By having a bunch of players get banned on both Pokemon Go and Niantic Wayfarer, that's going to discourage anyone from submitting new points of interest. So yeah, overall, I really hope they backtrack on these bans, and this is not something that is a thing with Pokemon Go moving forward. I really do not think it's going to be healthy for the game at all, and I really do think that for a lot of people who do end up getting banned, it's going to be devastating because they're actually trying to help the game. As much as I do agree that there needs to be some strict guidelines for what Pokestops get submitted, I also think there needs to be a bit of leniency when it comes to how Niantic sees people who are active on Niantic Wayfair. If people are submitting Pokestops and gyms, they're doing Niantic a favor. Like, they're actually making the game a lot better. I know I sound like I'm repeating myself here, but I do think this is very pressing, and this is something that should not be a thing. Now, something else that I thought about after seeing Zyonik's video is that when it comes to a lot of Pokemon Go players, this feels like just another thing that Niantic is doing that Pokemon Go players have gripes with. Like, there was a lot of bad decisions that Niantic made over this past year. Like, when it came to nerfing remote raids, that was extremely unpopular, and of course there was a lot of other things that they did that players were really disgruntled about, and I really feel like this is just going to add on top of that. Niantic needs a lot of wins right now because Pokemon Go is on shaky ground. A lot of people are just really unhappy with the game as it currently is, and for Niantic to do stuff like this, it's not going to help that case at all. I've talked to a lot of Pokemon Go players within my own local communities and also in communities in different cities. And I've also talked to some players who have quit the game this year. And it just seems like the sentiment right now is that Niantic is against their players. And that is obviously not a good reputation that a game studio should have. Like, when it comes to Niantic, yes, they've always had a very shaky track record when it comes to Pokemon Go and the Pokemon Go community. I really thought they were on an uptick when it came to the Pokemon Go experience. But out of nowhere this year, it just seems like they've been going downhill. Like I said at the beginning of this video, this has filled me with a lot of anxiety because I, for one, have been extremely active on Niantic Wayfair. I've submitted a lot of Pokestops and gyms as well as routes in the past couple of weeks. And to find out that I'm at risk for getting my account banned for doing that, I really do not like that feeling at all, and I don't think any player would. So yeah, Niantic, if you happen to be watching this video, I really hope you backtrack on this policy, because when it comes to Niantic Wayfair, you really have to respect that a lot of players are trying to do their best at making Pokemon Go a lot better. So yeah, these are just all of my thoughts on this matter. Again, you could go and look at Zyonik's video. I think he does a better breakdown on what the actual issue is, and he actually goes into the specific cases that players were reporting on Twitter, also known as X, as well as the Sylph Road subreddit. So yeah, that's definitely worth a watch. I'll put a link to it in the description below, but I would love to know your thoughts regarding everything that's going on down below. What do you think about these bans? Do you think it's well merited, or do you think Niantic is overstepping a little bit? Definitely share all those thoughts because I would love to know, and let's have a great discussion. And thank you so much for making it to this point in the video. If you ended up enjoying it and found it to be informative, make sure you hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if it's your first time here. And don't forget that little bell so you can stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And I want to give a quick shout out to all of my patrons on Patreon. You all make this channel content possible. If you want to play Pokemon Go with me, especially with remote raids and with the friendship system, then do consider joining my Patreon family, because for all of my patrons, they get a permanent spot on my in-game friends list. And yes, I try to actively send out remote raid invites as much as I can to my patrons specifically. So if you want remote raid invites, that is one avenue for you to receive them. And yeah, if you want to support my channel non-monetarily, you could always do so by following me on social media. My handle is @Jinsula, and I'm on the following platforms. I think it's over here, or maybe it's over here. I don't know. But yeah, follow me on these platforms, and I'll talk to you there. But in any case, yeah, that's going to be it for this video. I am Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I'll catch you all later.